Hey guys, so I want to show you something. Yesterday I had a call with a guy who had a problem with the curves of this bottle. Now essentially what he'd done is he'd got various different parts of this, these different shapes to kind of make a bottle shape. Now the problem with this is that, as you can see, if we zoom in, you see we haven't got smooth curves because we've got two shapes that are just smashing together, and it's not that great because you've got a slightly uneven surface. And what I want to do is to show you how you can combine different tools that you have in Spline to actually use one continuous shape to create a bottle shape like this one. Okay, so let's start again, and I'm just going to keep this one here for reference. So if we get a cylinder here, we're going to drag it out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to resize that and then drag it down, drag it up till about in line with the curve here. Actually, I'm going to need to make that a little bit wider, aren't I? Okay, so we've got a wine bottle shape started here. You can see that it's perfectly round. It's about the same circumference as this bottle here, so we're good to go. Now, instead of then getting a circle, or a sphere I should say, and then being like, right, I reckon it's like roughly that, and let's just hope that that kind of works, and then we can center them. Actually, sorry, we're going to need to put that at the max. You see how like awkward that is? What's better instead is to turn these down from corner 8 to 0 and corner sides to 1. And now we've got a really sharp cylinder here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click Smooth and Edit. Now this is going to completely mess up our model initially. It's going to change the Subdivision Modifier to level 1 automatically. So it kind of smooths out your shape. That's not particularly helpful at this stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that back to 0, and we're going to get this shape back. But now, look, we have all these different lines on here. Now we can actually select particular segments of this shape that we want. And now we can do some quite interesting things. At the top here, we've got Extrude, Inset, Loop Cut, and Edge Slide. And these four are going to be really helpful in the making of this bottle. To start with, I'm going to use Extrude. Now with Extrude, we can either bring the shape up and down to actually give it more sides. So I'm going to bring it up, and gradually I'm just going to create a smooth curve to this. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to gradually happen. And we're grabbing the inside. There's this red dot here. When you hover over it, it goes yellow. And if you hold shift as you drag, so you can drag up and then hold shift and drag in, what we're doing is we're actually creating this curved edge as we go, okay? Drag up, drag in, holding shift. If you don't hold shift, it's going to be a little wonky, guys, okay? Now what I recommend you do is as you go, just go slow, and you're going to gradually get a bottle shape. You can see my model's a little bit bigger than this one. I think it's kind of useful to work side by side, or it can get a little bit janky. Okay. Let's just carry on with this model. Whoop! You got to make sure as well that you don't get the other bits of the model as you go, because you'll suddenly get this wild shape if you don't select what you want to select, okay? So drag up. Let's just change this back to here so that we can see what we're doing. Nice. Okay, now I want to create a slightly smoother neck so that the neck of the bottle looks even. And whoop. We're also gonna, I think it's slightly like arching in as well. So what we can actually do is we can drag in this neck, again holding shift with that top selected. Okay, cool. It kind of looks more like a whiskey bottle, but whatever, you get the idea. Okay, then we've got this bottom section here. Now, I'm assuming this wine bottle has a kind of curved rim that then angles in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it out and start to create that curve at the bottom. Okay, great. Then we're going to use the inset tool. So I'm going to click inset and I'm going to drag down, and then I'm going to click the extrude and I'm going to push it up slightly to create that nice bottle indent that they have, those wine bottles there. Okay. So you might be looking at this and thinking, yeah, it kind of looks like a wine bottle, but I don't know if it's as smooth as it can be. You see we've got these kind of lines down here and it's not quite right, and then there's this little line here and it's like, meh, it's okay. What we can do is we can then increase the subdivision modifier. Okay, so, in fact, no, wait. One thing I forgot to do was to create... Just check I haven't selected anything else. I haven't created that downwards. Yeah, the kind of narrow lip there. So let's just drag that in. Inset tool, drag in, nice. And then I'm going to just drag that out a little bit. And now we can plunge it down into the belly of the beast to create the bottle. Okay, that's looking okay. Okay, so we got a bottle design. Obviously, we can do that lip bit. If we wanted to do the lip, we can actually cut using the loop cut tool. I'm actually not going to do that right now because I just want to show you the subdivision modifier. Okay, subdivision modifier. If I click 1 on this, boom, we've suddenly got a far smoother shape. Okay, let's just do that one more time for the people at the back. We've got lines. Ugh, I don't like lines, Jack. Let's get rid of them. Boom. 1 flattens it out really nicely, okay? Now, you might say to me, well, Jack, that's cool, but you've kind of flattened out everything. I didn't want the bottom of this to be flattened out. I only wanted the top. That is where the loop cut tool comes in, guys. This tool here. Shortcut is C on your keyboard, but look at this. As you hover over your object with the loop cut tool, you basically will see these little red lines which will signify that you can actually create loop cuts in your project. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, you gotta... This is actually quite narrow, so maybe my project is like, nah, you're alright, Jack. But now we're creating these little cuts which basically mean that our project is basically less affected by the subdivision modifier in there. Nice. So now we've got loads of cuts in here, and it means that we've got a sharper angle. The subdivision modifier isn't affecting our model so much now. Looks a lot better. Okay, cool. And now we might want to do a glass effect. We can do that super simply. I'm just going to add a couple of different things in here. We're going to go matte cap. I'm just going to make that shiny. Oof, that's a bit shiny. Maybe that's better. Nice. And I'm also going to add a glass outline. So let's change the matte cap to overlay. Let's change the glass to 5, thickness 5, refraction maybe just change that back to normal, but more like 50. Okay, nice. That looks quite bottly to me. Now you can see that we've got a reflection going because this is actually glass. We've got this at level 50, the matte cap. Its layer is normal, glass is normal, and then we've got the this grey colour there coming through. But the goal of this, I super quickly made this bottle. It's not perfect at all. But what I would say is that it's a lot smoother than this. And it's because we've used one single shape, which has all the different... Oh, that's nice, the bottom of the bottle. One single shape, which uses a combination of the extrude, the inset, and the loop cut tool to create something that has smooth edges. Hopefully that's really helpful for you guys if you are making objects in the future. Try not to combine tons and tons of different shapes. One reason for that, quite simply, is that you're actually adding a lot more detail and information than is necessarily needed to your object. Alternatively, it's not ideal to use loads and loads of subdivision modifiers, but what I would say is that if you just have one single shape, it looks a lot smoother. Generally, it will load a lot quicker, and it's just a bit cleaner from a design perspective. You don't see nearly as much cut lines like that if you do your model like this. Hope that helps. Cheers.